If you've considered hiring a virtual assistant or overseas talent, but you've been concerned about the time zone difference, I want to dive into that in this video and potentially show you how that could actually be a strategic advantage for your business. So if that's of interest, stick around because that's what we're going to be talking about. At first was an obstacle or like a challenge was time zones. So we hired our first virtual assistant and the task that we had, I mean, obviously depending on what you're hiring them for, this could, like, the importance of working when you're working is going to vary. If they're answering your phones, which Tyler, the friend that we mentioned, he literally has VAs that are his receptionists. Yeah. So you have to wake up at the time, like 9 a.m. Pacific, and you work till 5 or whatever the situation is. We had a lot of tasks that didn't really matter when they got done. And oftentimes Natalie or I was doing these tasks at like 9 p.m. before we went to bed. And you realize like, oh, someone in a different country could just be doing this right now and they could work through the night. And that's where I would say this can turn into like rocket fuel for your business, where what we, in a particular role that I had, we hired a developer to assist with some of the automation stuff we were doing. And I would get an alert from a client that said, hey, something's not working quite right. And this would be at 4:30 on a Tuesday.
Or 6 p.m. on a Friday, and it would blow up our whole weekend.
And so now Chris is working from, 6 p.m. through the night, and like, I'm up because I'm stressing, I got to get this fixed. And you have a virtual employee that just woke up. It's the beginning of their workday. They can work for 4 or 5 hours, and then I go to bed or spend time with my family, come back the next day. The whole problem, there was an email at 2 a.m. from Rod who said, hey, got this figured out. The client's not even awake yet. And they wake up, and this thing that they sent leaving their office one day, they come back the next morning and it's done. So you can definitely leverage these time zones to your advantage depending on the task. Yeah. And then what we've done is we have quick check-in for 30 minutes at the end of my workday, beginning of theirs, and then the same thing in the morning. So there's kind of a handoff. And then you use, communication tools like Slack to just drop in like threads of different clients and whatnot. But that's something that I would say is a surprising benefit.
Yeah, and I would say the time zone issue is actually only problematic for us because we actually have some virtual employees working on our time zone and some working through their daytime. So it's actually not really hard for us to connect with them during their day or in the beginning or end of their day. But when we're trying to get the whole team together, we don't want to be just messing with all of their schedules regularly and making them like flip around their hours. So it's actually more of the component that they're on different schedules within that same time zone.
Yeah. And I would say something when you're thinking about time zones with hiring people, pretty much every person that we've hired, we've been more strict about the time zone. Like, we tell them up front, our goal, if first of all, what would be your preference for hours of the day that you want to work for you? And some people legitimately want to work the 2 a.m. to, noon shift because that's what all of their friends do. Other people, one particular employee that we have, he has young kids, and it was more important to him that he could be at home and be present with his kid. And so it was really valuable for him to not have to work in the graveyard shift. And I think it's important to realize, just like in America, if you work the graveyard shift, you expect to get paid a little bit more. Well, it's the same thing here, that if you're going to give someone fantastic working conditions and something that fits their schedule, you can generally get a little more talent for a little bit less because you're providing something that money can't provide, which is their, quality of life. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope this was valuable. If you did find this valuable, please like the video. If you're a painter, you should subscribe to the channel because Boolean exists to free painters up to do what they love, which oftentimes is not boring, mind-numbing data entry. It's solving interesting problems with your team and freeing your people up to go have an impact on the business. So if that's something that, if you're in that wheelhouse, I can't even talk right now, but I don't care, because if you are a painter, you came to the right place and we'd love to chat. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.